Please welcome to the stage, Todd Olson, CEO and co-founder of Pendo.
Good morning, everyone, and wow, that's really bright. So, good news is I can't see anyone. So, well, look, it's great to be here. I'm Todd Olson, CEO and co-founder of Pendo, and welcome to Pendomonium in person. You know, if you'd asked me, well, if I tried to take a bet, if any of us tried to bet when we'd be first in person, I think we all would have probably lost. And it's just so exciting to be back together, collaborating. And thank you all for being the first in. I mean, how many of you, this is the first in-person conference you've done in 2 years or a year and a half? Yeah, nearly all of us. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, welcome. I hope you enjoy it. Let's give us all a hand for being leaders here. And this is a fantastic venue. The whole theme is festival. I will warn you, there will probably be car noises and maybe an occasional train, so it will be a unique experience being outside, but I don't think we could have asked for better weather on this day. There's a lot of great, amazing companies here today. So thank you all. I think, one of the main reasons I wanted to do this was to get everyone together. Our partners, our customers. I think a lot of magic happens when we work as a community to share all the amazing things we're doing. And in many ways, I think this talk and hopefully what you hear today is more of a story of what each and every one of you is doing, more so than what Pendo's doing. I consider us a facilitator in this, but what I'm really excited about is all the amazing stories, and you'll hear some of them in my talk here, but all of you, you're the folks that really inspire us and really, honestly, get us energized to work every day. And last year, I want to give a quick review of what's happened since the last year. And the last year, for folks that are there, was a virtual event. And the theme was all around rewriting our playbook. Because we had to rewrite our playbook. Everything was still very much in flux, very much uncertain. And many of us were still grappling with how do we shift, how do we pivot, how do we adjust to all the change ahead of us. And Pendo was no different than each and every one of you. We had to adjust and we had to rewrite our playbook. And one of the first things we did is we decided internally around May of last year that we ourselves needed to be more product-led. So we launched Pendo Free in November of last year, and we're really, really excited. Thank you. Yeah, who's here because of Free? Who started with Free? Wow. So it's still a relatively small cohort, but amazing. I'm proud to say we've actually doubled the number of companies using Pendo through Free. And this is just an exciting start to us continuing on doubling down on our own product-led journey. So very, very excited about that. We are announcing today Pendo Free now supports mobile fully, so go check that out. If you have a mobile app, you can go quickly at it. A very, very nice experience. So that is one of the announcements we're making this week. And with that, I want to talk a little bit more about mobile. I think last year we saw continued growth in mobile usage, and I think in our community, in our customer base, we more than doubled the amount of companies and usage we saw in mobile. And part of that drove lots of innovation, whether it's a new beautiful onboarding carousel to full support for polls. But our vision here is your users are going to meet you in different applications. Some are going to come in mobile, some are going to go to the web, so you need to really think about your omni-channel experience. The next thing we did is we've got a lot of questions actually since we started the company on, okay, if I had to create a board slide on how our product is doing, what would I put in it? And honestly, our board has challenged us back since probably 2016, and we've kind of come up with different ideas. But last year we released the Product Engagement Score, or as we call it, PES. And it's a composite measure looking at 3 axes: adoption, growth, and stickiness. And we've seen a lot of uptake in this. So more than half of you started using the Product Engagement Score. We've now launched drill downs. So it's not just giving you a score, it's helping you understand, okay, if this area of my score isn't as good as I want it, what can I do to improve it? So these drill downs help you answer why and help you actually make tangible changes to your product. But this is a very, very exciting area of innovation. I'd encourage you to try it out. I encourage you to try putting it in your board slides. And it'll help create dialogue with the executive leadership with your business of how is our product doing. You'll see later in demos today about how this single measure can also help you when you're looking at a portfolio of products, isolate which products you should probably be drilling into. The other thing you'll hear a lot about is how do we get product data in more people's hands? How do we disseminate all the amazing data about our products so it helps inform the rest of the business? And one of the best ways we can do this is leveraging collaboration tools like Slack. So now we recently released the ability to unfurl any link from Slack, any Pendo link, and it'll produce product data within it. So it'll kind of explode it out, give you some nice metrics. And this is the first of many areas of investment that we're going to be working on about how do you bring product data to your entire business. It's not just for your product team, it's for everyone can leverage this. So take a link, drop it in Slack, you'll see amazing information. You can create then a thread and talk about it. So that's something we recently released. One of the areas I'm most passionate around is we kept getting questions from each and every one of you is, how do we know our in-app messages, our guides are working? Many of you come from maybe a marketing background, and there's all sorts of conversion rates and all sorts of tools and technologies for marketing conversions. But for in-product, that's still very, very new and innovative. So we, this year, very recently, released the ability to first identify a conversion goal for an in-app message or for a guide. So, for example, this guide is successful as driving this sort of behavior in our product. Next, we released the ability to run experiments based on that conversion goal. So, for example, let's do a split test of this percentage of our users seeing a guide versus those, which quantifiably proves that this guide is actually driving behavior and driving conversion in your product. This is very often what you need to then go take it to your leadership to continue experimenting more with in-app communications, because for many of you, it is very, very new. And this is also highlighting the power of having a unified platform that has both in-app messaging and deep product data in the same place, because very, very easy, point and click, you can get very fast ROI information on how your messages are doing. As we've scaled and grown, many of you come from large enterprise organizations. And as we met more and more large enterprises, you need far more fine-grained controls around permissions. How do we make sure different people access different pieces? So we completely overhauled our permissioning system. We now have the ability to scale Pendo much more effectively against larger organizations. In May of this year, we actually introduced a new family of products that we're calling Adopt. You're actually going to see it probably for the first time today, or you may have seen it before this, but hopefully for many of you, you'll see it first. But this is all around how do we continue what we're doing to drive adoption for employee-facing applications. I could not be more excited about this area. It's a whole new product family. We've invested a ton this year in innovating in this area, and you're going to see it live on stage for the first time later today. That was a lot of product innovation. The company itself has also grown significantly through the last year since Pendomonium. So we've grown our presence in EMEA by over 30%. And then we also expanded into Asia for the very first time. So we now have over 50 customers in Asia. We actually opened our 7th office in Tokyo. We have our first Japanese customers. We're actively opening an office in Australia. So for those who are multinational and global and have offices in Asia, will start having the opportunity to provide local support and even in-language support for many Asian countries. And we also raised a round of funding. So we announced a $150 million raise in July. And really, if you think about where this is going, it is innovation. This year is actually one of our biggest years in company history in R&D. Part of it is to launch Adopt. Part of it is just to continue with meeting the demands we have from each and every one of you. So as a product person, I'm very excited about all the work we're doing and exciting to get all your feedback on it. We also did a lot outside of product with respect to community. So we launched a Pendo neighborhood. I'm really excited to say that 98% of you have visited the neighborhood since its launch. And check it out if you haven't. The neighborhood is now a consolidation of our community brands into a single location. There's some amazing content. You'll hear more about that throughout the day. You can attend classes. Our certifications are through there. It's all in a single place, so check it out. If you have any questions about it, see someone from Pendo. It's a great place to learn more and continue your product-led journey. Pendo user groups, as we call them, PUGs. Was anyone here in 2019? We had this very cute pug on stage, and that's when we launched PUGs. And we're really excited to say that we've doubled the number of PUGs in the last year. We now have 25 PUGs, of course, various cities across the world, over 1,000 members. This is led by you, and we just support you, and the work being done out there is fantastic, and it's super, super exciting. I talked a little bit about certification. We now have over 1,000 certified Pendo Essentials members of our community. So go check this out. We do have an academy, a virtual academy now online, so it's not just in-person classes. We have virtual classes as well. And you can get certified in Essentials, web, mobile. Pendo Feedback's coming soon. So there's a lot of great content to help, again, continue your Pendo journey. A big part of our story in the last year was around being product-led. You'll hear more about it, and I do have like a little prop here. So last year, we launched our book called The Product-Led Organization, and then in the last, 6 months or so, we released this box, which you can kind of think of it as an accompaniment to the book. Maybe the book puts you to sleep and you want to have some sort of workshop to liven it up. This has a whole bunch of goodies inside of it that can help decompose and deconstruct the book into workshops, activities, all around driving product-led growth. We actually have a product-led hub on our website that has all of this content available, and it's all about helping you. And I think if you haven't heard me talk about what it means to be product-led, I think that the crazy thing is a lot of people associate product-led with product-led growth, and I hear from a lot of companies, well, our company's not ready for product-led growth, or how does it work with our sales team? That is not what we mean by product-led. That's not what the book talks about. There's lots of diverse use cases where you can employ product-led techniques outside of growth and outside of sales, and happy to partner with you on that journey. We're releasing today a new site called How I Pendo, which is a curated collection of stories of how people are using our product. And one of the cool things is, folks, they are a very diverse set of stories. Very, very diverse. And that's one of the exciting things about working here is I'll hear a story, I was like, I never thought someone could use Pendo to do that, but that's pretty cool. So if you want to learn more, obviously go to this site, but we also have a How I Pendo. You can see it's like a little mural back there near the beer garden. It's an opportunity to grab a beer, go sit down and share a video of how you do it. It'll loosen you up a little bit. But it's a great opportunity to share your story. I'm very confident it's unique, but it's also an opportunity to learn more about how you can apply some of these stories to your business. But it wasn't just us that had to rewrite their playbook last year. A lot of you had to do it. And I want to highlight a few of these stories, and I'll first start with MindBody. You may know of MindBody. They produce software which supports fitness centers and yoga studios. And you can probably all imagine what happened last April to their customer base. So MindBody had to react very, very rapidly, not just for their own business, but for their customers' business, so to make sure their customers could rewrite their playbook. So they launched a virtual wellness platform which enabled studios to start providing classes virtually. And they did this very, very rapidly. And they partnered with Pendo to roll it out, measure its effectiveness, and continue to iterate on it to make sure that it's delivering the most impact very, very rapidly to this group of customers. And very, very exciting story, very successful. They actually won an innovation award for this release, and we could not have been more proud to partner with them on that. The next story is about Bright Horizons. You may have dropped off your kid at a Bright Horizons if you have kids. I know I've dropped off my kids to Bright Horizons before. But they are typically an in-person daycare facility. And again, you could only imagine what happened when no one was getting dropped off. Yet their customers still had pain. Just because daycares were closed doesn't mean their kids were magically cared for. At least mine weren't. If you were, please let me know how that happened. So they needed to pivot to support what their customers needed, which was in-home childcare. So they quickly launched a new virtual software platform to help connect care providers with parents to make sure people can continue working while they're all of a sudden working at home and no longer have a very, very easy childcare. And this is another area where partnering with them on measuring the experience, making sure we deliver positive onboarding experience to make sure we're delivering a great product to continue driving the business forward. So what we saw is while many of us rewrote our playbook, the world permanently changed. McKinsey said that in a single year, adoption of digital products accelerated by 7 years. I think Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, said something very similar. He said we saw 2 years of digital transformation in 2 months. Regardless of what number you like better, the reality is a lot accelerated in a very short amount of time. And these apps I talked about, they're not getting deleted. The virtual wellness platform isn't going away. It exists now. So the question is, what's next? Many of us released things for the very first time in the last year because we had to. It was a matter of survival. It's a matter of our customer survival in many instances. But now what? We have these things out in the wild. How do we iterate them? How do we take them forward? What's the future of these new digital software products looking like? And how do we continue on this transition? And for me, it starts and ends with product. The reality is that you led with product to help rewrite your playbook, and the product, your digital products, are what is going to continue leading your business. And whether it's working with your marketing team or sales team or CS team to help understand more ways your product can help your business, to me, this is the way you continue to respond. So being product-led, for me, is how all of us stay ready for anything to come, anything to happen, all of the change. And folks, it may feel like things are in the clear, we're together, but there's still a lot of uncertainty out there, and there's still a lot to be work done to continue iterating on this digital transformation journey. And one of the great stories that I've been telling a bit, I don't know if any folks from Toast are here, but Toast is another fantastic story, very, very similar. Toast started as a point-of-sale system for restaurants, and of course, their business and their customers' businesses got highly disrupted last year, and they had to pivot to to-go orders and contactless payment at restaurants, and all these little changes had to roll out really, really, really fast, and they didn't have time to onboard people manually, do things very human-led. They had to use product-led techniques. So they rolled out probably one of their largest set of digital releases in one of the shortest periods of time, and did it in a completely product-led way. Completely hands-off, completely digital. And this really helped their restaurants stay ready for anything as well. And if you're not familiar, Toast recently went public, very, very successful, very highly valued company, and weathered what could have been a just insurmountable storm. So very, very excited to partner with Toast on that story. So what's next? What's coming out next? What are we focused on here in Pendo? There's a couple themes that I want to talk about that, to me, are going to continue to help us stay ready for anything. And the first one is, how do we separate signal from noise? Many of you now are either starting or into your product-led and product data journey. But now many of you are saying, okay, what data is the most important data? Where should I be looking? What should I be focused on? And the reality is, folks, there's just a lot of data out there. We collect over 12 billion events a day from 470 million end users. That's the collection of all of your end users. That adds up to about 470 million, and it's growing very, very regularly. So it's a large number of data. Just looking across our customer base, in September alone, We had 250,000 pages, over 500,000 features, yielding billions of clicks and page loads. We had 11,000 polls, 77,000 guides, yielding tons of responses. 350 million guide views in a single month. There's a lot going on out there. And the question is, where do I start? What do I look at? What's the most important thing? Where do I focus? So today I want to announce, or introduce, I should say, our new machine learning capability that we're calling Simon. We named Simon after a Nobel Prize-winning scientist from my alma mater, Herbert Simon. I went to Carnegie Mellon. He's one of the pioneers in artificial intelligence. We thought it was just a very appropriate name for this work we're doing. So what's exciting is we've got a new set of capabilities that is all focused on how we separate signals from all the data you have out there. So where are we starting with this? Well, one of the first problems that we're very, very passionate around is the customer feedback problem, because all of us experience something. You ship something, everyone has lots of opinions, and if you don't centralize it, you get this sprawl of qualitative information. Well, this customer said this in this email, or I got a Slack message where someone was asking about that, or, oh, geez, there's a Zendesk ticket around this or that. It's a mess. And this was the thesis that helped drive us to invest in Pendo Feedback, which, if you're not taking advantage of it, it's a platform for centralizing all of your feedback, from going from sprawl to organization around what people want in your software application. And we're seeing great success with this across our base. PetDesk is a very cool company. They support over several thousand veterinary practices around the world. And they had to rewrite their playbook, of course, in the last year. And they partnered with us very closely on feedback to help talk to the veterinary practice and get voice of the customer data to shape the future of what folks want to see in new digital applications they were starting to roll out to help the veterinary practices better communicate with their customers. They basically had to make the vets more digitally native. And so they released a bunch of new applications, and they leveraged feedback to make sure that they're steering the innovation in the right direction to deliver the most impact. But the reality is, when you add more capabilities and more product data, you just end up with more potential noise. So the average customer out there, the average subscription, gets over 12,000 pieces of qualitative feedback a year. That's a lot. No one's going to read 12,000 pieces of feedback. And we're just estimating that on average, companies are spending about 10 hours a week just triaging incoming requests from customers, which, folks, is not the most fun work that you could do. Let's be honest. This is not the highest leverage area. So we're excited to say that we are actually applying Simon to this problem. And today, we're actually going to introduce topics for Pendo Feedback. It's our first application of machine learning in our stack. We're very, very excited for it. And I'm going to welcome to the stage Dr. Inbal Budowski-Tal and Karen Wexler to actually show off this new capability.
Hi, everyone. Boy, it's sunny. All right. I'm excited to share with you the first application of our new machine learning engine, Simon. Let's check out the demo. So a quick refresher for those of you who are not using it yet. This is Pendo Feedback. Before machine learning, what you'd see is this long list of requests from customers. And for each request, you'll see how many customers voted for it, how many prospects have asked for it, and even the associated ARR. Look at this long list of requests. Some customers even told us that they have opened feedback only to internal users in order to avoid a large volume of requests. And this is missing the whole point, right? We want to actually hear our customers. And soon, with Simon, this is what it's going to look like. So let's start by looking at the chart on the left. Instead of just a list of requests, Simon will tell you what common themes emerge from the requests and their respective weight, meaning the larger the bar, the more people requested things around this topic. These topics are extracted from the actual requests. So we have not only made the list shorter for you, we also surfaced what is most important and common among your customers. What we've seen when introducing it to customers and design partners is that topics that emerge sometimes surprise you because they reflect the user's pain points and not your predefined categories. And Karen will tell you more.
So let's see what this algorithm extracted over Pendo's feedback requests, our own feedback requests. So if I look at this top to bottom, I can see guides, data explorer, pages and features. Those all make a lot of sense because we're heavily investing in them. But the fourth topic here, dashboards, is actually an area where we had a hunch that we need to invest more. And seeing the number of requests really helped us strengthen our hunch. Now, on the right, you can see that lately, the number of requests around dashboards has increased dramatically. So to me, as a product person, this means that there is more and more interest within my customers in dashboards, and maybe I should do something about it. And hey, this is not a theoretical story. This is actually what happened to us. We saw these trends, we saw these numbers, we understood that there is a customer pain involved, and we decided to invest in dashboards. You'll hear more about it in a little bit. So now that we have this strategic understanding of our customer feedback requests, let's move on to the tactics. Let's say that I am the product manager for dashboards. I want to fish out only the requests that are relevant to dashboards. But right now, I would need to go over this huge list of new requests just to find the requests that are relevant to me. Or I can get someone else from my team, maybe product ops, to the requests. And so triaging is a thing. Our customers tell us that each of them builds a whole process around it. And it usually boils down to the same thing, a user sitting down for hours triaging. So now, with our new topic extraction, I can simply click on the dashboards topic. I see only the requests that are relevant to me. I can bulk assign a product area or labels, and I can finally dig in and start gaining insights.
Now, let me show you some magic. Up to now, we saw Pendo's topics based on Pendo's requests, right? But what happens if we apply Simon to a different app of a different customer? So let's take a look at the results over Filevine's data. Filevine is a Pendo customer and a design partner we work closely with. So when we look at the topics that rise from Filevine's data, we see that the machine learning has extracted an entirely different set of topics. We can find here topics like task, contact, field. Those are topics that correlate with the Filevine app, and you will see the topics that correlate with your application. I invite you to hear more firsthand from Mary from Filevine today about her experience with Pendo and the machine learning team today at 3:40, yeah. So what you have just seen here is machine learning in action. Our goal is to use machine learning to make sense out of these big bulks of data by making the data manageable, digestible, and easy to analyze and consume. And this is just the beginning. We have so many other ideas of how to apply machine learning to other areas in Pendo. So if you'd like to chat about it or sign up as a design partner, please come by the feedback booth after the keynotes. I'll be there. So thank you, and stay tuned. Back to you, Todd.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Amazing, amazing. So excited about this area. Honestly, it's an area of investment we've been wanting to make for years with Inbal and our team. We're really excited about what's to come. And as she said, that's just the beginning. But continuing on this thread and this narrative, okay, so you see now we've taken raw, unstructured, qualitative feedback, and we now have topics, we have themes, it's auto-generated, as she called it, magical. And by the way, it even shocked me the first time I saw the demo. But what's next? How do we take these themes and these topics and turn it into action, turn it into a set of priorities? I mean, our team often as product teams is to distill large quantities of data and drive a plan of action. I'm excited to bring on Braden Rice and Karen again to kind of talk a little bit about how to take these topics and take them into action.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Todd. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us. All right, I'm going to start with why. Why are we even building this? Like, we're going to talk about roadmaps today, but why did we build this? Frankly, it's because product managers, as product managers, you guys are getting asked this question all the time. I know this because I'm in sales, and I'm usually the one asking you this question, so apologies. But we know this is an important question also, and to effectively answer that question, you probably will use a roadmap. But roadmaps are complex. They can need voiceovers, you can need full presentations, and there's a place for strategy meetings and long discussions, but sometimes an email's best. And sometimes an easy and transparent roadmap is best. And so that's why we are building this. We want to empower you to answer that exact same question. Or better yet, we want to eliminate that question from even being asked. So today, we're going to show you our new road mapping capabilities, but in combination with feedback. And we're going to start by revisiting the topics dashboard and feedback that you saw in the previous demo. So let's get started with the demo. And what you'll see right away, as Inbal just showed, is that there's some clear topics of interest here. And guides in particular had over 600 customer requests. And interestingly, dashboards also had this huge increase over the last 3 months on the trend line of customer requests submitted. And when our product team saw that, they realized that we might have something special here. We might want to add dashboards into the roadmap. And so that's exactly what we're going to do today. And actually, you're going to hear another presentation on dashboards a little bit later. So let's get started with showing you a demo of a 2022 product roadmap. So Karen's going to get started, and it's really straightforward to do so. We've redesigned the UI so it's intuitive, it's easy to use. And what we're going to start with is creating the demo roadmap. We're also going to title this our Pendomonium roadmap for 2020. And then we've got some big ideas that we want to get through as well here. So from the former machine learning demo you saw, some of the stuff that came to the top, as we've discussed, is dashboards. So we're going to create a swim lane for dashboards, and we're going to give that a color. And then we're going to create another swim lane for guides. Give that a different color. And then lastly, we're going to create one more for Data Explorer. But as we walk through the rest of the demo, we're going to mostly focus on dashboards today and enter in some big ideas, populate some big ideas into our dashboard. But first, I want to give you some context on what can actually even be added. So first, there's initiatives. Think big ideas. We also have features. Think supporting big ideas. And then requests, which are customer requests that can support either. So some of the popular topics that we saw in the previous demo were centralization. We saw co-editing dashboards. We saw being able to share dashboards. So we're going to start creating some initiatives here. So one initiative is going to be centralization. And then we're also going to add, there we go. And then we can extend that out over Q1 and Q2. And then we're also going to add 2 features. One of the features is going to be called co-editing dashboards. And then the next one will be share dashboards. And again, really simple to set this up. We'll extend those out over Q3 as well. And then we can also make one more feature called make bulk edits and add it into the dashboard swim lane. Actually, on second thought, Karen, I think that make bulk edits is going to be part of our guides, so let's move that down. As you can move down and edit in real time very easily. It changes color, so we're easily being able to move this from one swim lane to the next. Thanks, that's great. All right, so now that we're focused on this dashboard section, we want to start to support our roadmap with customer requests. So we're going to do a search for dashboards, and this will bring up all of the relevant customer requests. And we're going to drag a couple of these in. And the next one, there you go, perfect. And we can extend those out as well. These are going to take a couple of quarters. And what we want to start to learn is, what are the details of these? Wait, how important are these from customers? We got these directly from our customers, but we want to know some of the details. And what you'll see immediately is you get this right in the same page. You don't have to navigate away. You get qualitative and quantitative data. So here we've got 28 votes and over $600,000 in ARR. You also get qualitative data, like what app is this associated with, what private and public comments have been associated with this. You can actually tag teammates in those comments should you want to draw attention to them. You can see a description of the request, and you can also see custom tags should you have set those up. In this case, this customer that submitted this request was a churn risk. They're also a tier 1 enterprise customer, and I think they're a West Coast target account. So now that we know we've got popular customer requests, we've got a significant revenue opportunity here. We've got the qualitative data with all the customer needs. This is really helping support our product vision. So we can clearly start to see some trends also here and relationships that make up potentially larger projects. So let's start to create some hierarchy. We see commonality between co-editing dashboards and shareable dashboards, so we can combine those together and create a larger initiative, and we're going to call that collaboration. And this will be a big part of our product planning for the next year. Collaboration is going to be a big one. You're actually going to hear about this a little bit in the next demo. And then we're also going to combine the customer requests as well, and we can rename those as an initiative called context. Perfect. And now you start to see the parent-child hierarchy of both of these. If you click into it, you can also see the aggregated data, qualitative and quantitative data that is associated with that now initiative. So this is great. This helps validate your roadmap decisions. This helps possibly help solve some internal conflict too. If someone comes to you and asks you, why are we building this, you can direct them to the data. And you can even publish this publicly should you want to, or privately. And so by having feedback and insights and guides and now roadmaps all in one platform, you're truly ready for anything, including maybe being able to answer that important but slightly annoying question of why are you building this? So thank you all for having me. We'll be in closed beta for this product in Q4, but we've got a really exciting roadmap. My team will be in Pendo Park all day today, so feel free to stop by and have a conversation about this. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That was awesome. Look, we've already teased out collaboration a few times today, but the reality is how we're working today is wildly different than what it was before. This is the norm for many of us, these little squares on a screen. And given that work has permanently changed, we've had to, I think, rethink the way that our software supports that work. So we're investing a lot in collaboration, and what we realized is that all of us, we even included, we're taking data from Pendo and putting it in other systems. So for example, we would take data from Pendo and put it into a wiki, which wikis are great, but honestly, it's more of a development-oriented tool or not. And cutting and pasting screens and moving things around wasn't really the best experience. And frankly, wikis lack organization, so it's kind of a mess to find anything in a wiki. We've also seen us do the same thing for Google Docs and spreadsheets and presentations. It's, we need to, let's drop some information and try to create a narrative. That's also a bit clumsy. We've used things like whiteboards, virtual whiteboards that exist, and put things in there. I don't know about you, but I was working on a project once, and I was like, well, where can I get information? Someone sent me a wiki, a Miro board, a Google Doc. Well, that's painful. It's painful having to go to 3 places to talk about one thing. And what you really want is a single unified dashboard where content living in different systems comes together with your product data, and you have the opportunity to put context on your product data to understand what the project is you're working on and where to take it forward. So that is what we're working on. So we're excited to show you today our reimagined Pendo dashboards. And the vision here is how do we bring people together to provide more context around product data to make more informed decisions. And to help show this off, I'm going to invite Stephanie Tanzer and Stephanie Liu on stage to help showcase our new dashboards. Stephanie's? Yeah.
Okay, so you have to be ready for anything. But what does that really mean? You need to be agile. You need to be product-led. You need to be able to come together as a team to build, discover, measure, and improve your product. What is the secret to amazing collaboration? We think it's data. But most of the time, data is the problem and not the solution. Data is scattered. It doesn't tell a story. It can't be accessed. It tears teams apart. But when data is centralized, everyone can find it. When data comes with context, everyone can get on the same page. And when data is shareable, everyone can contribute. And amazing collaboration happens. So how can Pendo help? Well, we have dashboards, and you've heard it from the previous 2 demos that we have quite an extensive roadmap to make these better because, to be honest, historically, they haven't really pulled their weight until now. So let's talk through an example. I'm going to walk through a workflow of a product manager using Pendo. We'll talk through the evolution of a feature, starting from problem discovery, leading into feature launch and adoption. I'm going to use an example feature called Notes in our example application, Acme CRM. We'll start with discovery. We have learned that opportunities in our CRM are not receiving as much engagement as we'd like. And I need to dig in a little bit and find out why. I need to pull some data in. So I'm going to navigate to my dashboard directory, but notice this new dashboard directory, which is a brand new page that has all of my dashboards in one single place. No longer do I have to go to my side navigation and see a bunch of cluttered dashboards I hardly ever access. I can come here instead, where I can easily search for ones that I've created or that have been shared to me, as well as do a quick search and find the one that I really need at this moment. So I'm going to go ahead and double-click and dig into, look at this data that I have here. I can add context now using the new text block. This rich text editor allows me to add any text I want to any dashboard. In this case, I want to set some purpose. I want to set some context as to why you all should look at my dashboard, what you should take away from it. I got a narrative I want to share, and I can do that all right now with this text block widget. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. I'm going to add some text so that you all understand what I'm doing. And as a product manager, I do a lot of market and competitive research during my discovery process. And historically, all that information has really lived in spreadsheet or Google Documents, slide deck maybe, Confluence, only to be accessed when I have to talk with my engineering counterparts or if I need to talk with my leadership team. But now, with the new embed widget, I can add any iframe I want to right to my dashboard. And so I've added a G2 grid showing off the CRM market. And now my team can access this. They can see it. They can understand my thought process and the data that I'm using in order to make my decisions around my problem discovery. As you can see, the CRM space is extremely crowded. I'm thinking we're going to have to really focus on differentiation in order to win in this space. This is great. With just 2 new widgets, embed and text block, I can share context and effectively communicate with my team. So let's move on to feature launch. I've done the discovery. I've built the feature, and now it's time to launch this to the world. As you can see in this dashboard, I'm using this text block widget again to share context, to narrate, to tell the story, add some success criteria so everyone knows what we're tracking. I've also added a prototype here so that everyone understands exactly what this feature should look like now that it's in production. And I bet that we've all felt that pain of working on a feature for months with our teams for so long, launching it to the world, and then having mediocre adoption. So-so adoption. It's not a great feeling. But because people need to be told that something new exists. They need to be convinced as to why they should try it, even when the product is great. So, in-app guides, of course, increase awareness of new features. And I want to make sure that my feature is adopted when it comes out. So I don't just need a good guide, I need a great one. But how do I know if a guide is actually driving the behavior that I want? Is it causation? Is it correlation? That's always been the big question with guides, but not anymore. As you heard Todd talk about experiments and conversions, and now you can add them right to your dashboard, where you can see the results, everyone can see the results, and see exactly how effective your guide is. As you can see in the case of my guide, it's extremely effective at introducing this feature. Compared to a control group of users who did not see the guide, users are 115% more likely to try this new feature out. I think I'm good to go. Okay, so there's one more thing to show today, and I'm really excited about this. Let's talk portfolio. For companies that have multiple products, it's so important to be able to compare relative performance over the entire portfolio. And so often, we rely solely on financial metrics to measure performance for products, and this needs to change. Last year at Pendomonium, we launched the Product Engagement Score, which is a measure to measure overall product engagement. And today, we go one step further with a new view that gives you top-level metrics across every single product within your portfolio, introducing Portfolio Summary, where I can easily visualize my product engagement score, my Net Promoter Score, attach rate, active visitors, active accounts in one single view. How cool is this? I can also, as I see this 10,000-foot view, I can also drill in to an individual product. So I can see a little bit more information about it, and I can drill in and understand. So remember that feature that we launched earlier? We need to kind of understand, drill in, and see how this Acme CRM product is doing now that the feature is out in the wild. So I'm going to ahead and go into my product engagement score and drill in a little bit. And it looks like stickiness is trending a little lower now. And around that August 1st time frame, something happened. Got to dig in, got to do a little bit more investigation to understand what's happening. But most likely, I'm going to have to invest in usability, quality to try to get those numbers back up. I can also see some fantastic information about my Net Promoter Score right on this dashboard. I've added all 4 of our new Net Promoter Score widgets right to the dash so that I can easily see all new responses as well as how Net Promoter Score is trending over time without having to go to somewhere else in Pendo. It's all on this same view. I really can't wait to tell you what's coming up next with sharing and collaboration. These dashboards are the place where you can centralize data, invite your team, and share your context. But how do we make this a little bit more about collaboration and team? Who here has ever shared a dashboard? You take that URL, you send it to one of your coworkers, and then they try to access it, but they can't because you forgot to hit that share dashboard button. And who else has been the recipient of that dashboard, where you've gone to that URL and you've looked at this data, it's beautiful, and you want to find it again, but you forget to hit it, add to my dashboard, and you can't find it ever again. It's gone. I think we can make that experience better, don't you? In Q4, we're going to be introducing better sharing of dashboards, where I can invite anyone in my organization, and they can see the exact same thing that I can. They can add additional widgets, they can add context, and I will see that information as well. And they can invite their entire organization, everyone can see the same thing, they can see the same context, they see that same view. I can't wait. It's going to be in Q4. If you want to see a demo, please do and give us some feedback. So what do you think of everything that's new that we've just introduced, huh? what great additions to our dashboards. This is going to be fantastic. So everything that you just see, we just talked about is live in the product today. So please put it to use. And next time that you're starting your discovery process, bring in your team. Bring in the data and centralize that data and share your context, because it's going to change how you work. Please stop by analytics or guidance booths throughout the day. We have more to talk about. We would love your feedback. We'd love to just chat with you. Have a great time today. And Todd, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. Thank both of you. That's awesome. That looks amazing. Wow. So you've seen 2 very different demos, and now you're going to see a third very, very soon. And I teased this out earlier when I talk about us launching a new family of products. And the whole inspiration for this came from, customer pull from each and every one of you. We heard from you around, hey, the challenge we seem to be having now is it's not just our customers engaging with the software we build, it's often our employees are having challenges with the software we build. And if we think about our lives, all of the work we do, actually, regardless of whether we're in an office or even at home, is in software. We sit down or stand up, hopefully you have a standing desk, it's good for you, and you use software basically all day long. So all of our efficiencies and or inefficiencies are wrapped in, okay, where do they move this thing, or where do I get stuck, or where are the challenges, or how do I go from app to app, or what changed last night? So the reality is there's huge challenges with the software that we are required to do our jobs. How often do we have to call the help desk or ask, where did you move this thing, or refer back to help? It's painful. It's painful and it slows us down. And this to us is a problem that we know we can solve. And one of our early design partners to this process was Home Depot. And look, all of us know who Home Depot is. Many of us go in there to get our home improvement goods, but that's not the only aspect of their business. They have an application called Quote Center, which a Home Depot associate will work with a contractor to help fill very large orders. Now, if you can imagine in the last year, I think we've all heard about the construction and the housing boom. The cost of 2x4s apparently got very expensive. So there's a massive amount of demand for this. So they needed to work on improving the usability to make sure that every time a contractor called in with a large order, it didn't cause support issues or help desk tickets or other challenges in the UI. So they've been working on taking this internal application and streamlining its effectiveness to make sure they can very, very quickly meet the needs of a rapidly dynamic housing market. And they're not alone. The average company has 288 applications that people have to use. And if you worked in you probably realize, what do we have? Many of you have 3 tools that do the exact same thing. I'm embarrassed to say that we probably have 3 or 4 tools that do the exact same thing. And how do you toggle between them? And everything's a little bit different. And that's a huge challenge. And when we look at the market, when you ask employers if they're doing enough to help you do your job, they're saying yes at a far higher rate than what you think they're actually doing a better job. We are all not enabled enough, not educated enough, not onboarded well enough to always effectively do our job. And that just caused us to have to ask for help and go try to dig through some documentation. There's got to be a better way. And look, folks, this is not just the software you build internally. It's a software you often buy internally. The reality is even commercial off-the-shelf software, and they call it commercial off-the-shelf software, is not off the shelf. I haven't met a single company I've worked in that just buys Salesforce and just says, oh, here it is out of the box, go at it. No, we heavily customize the things. They are almost looking like unique applications in themselves, we tailor them. The problem is not reserved to custom software. Every software, certainly every enterprise software I have, is heavily customized to meet our specific needs. Henceforth, there's challenges, there's education, there's switching costs, there's onboarding. And this is the challenge that we're attacking with Pendo Adopt. And I could not be more excited to introduce Pendo Adopt to you today. It represents one of the largest investments in R&D we've made as a company since we've started. And I'm going to bring on stage Tatiana Mahmoud and Clay Miner to demo the new Pendo Adopt.
Woo! Hi, everyone. Hope you're enjoying this morning. Wow, the way that we work has changed so much. And whether we go back to the office or not, our behaviors and the ways that we are working have changed forever. We have to use so many applications. We have to do so many new workflows. Everything has changed. So we built this product, the new Pendo Adopt, so that all organizations can deliver a better experience to employees. And how do we do this? We do this in 3 ways. It's a platform that brings 3 things together. First, you can understand what your employees are actually doing in the software that they're using through real product data and behavioral insight. The second is that you can improve their experience by understanding exactly where they're falling off and then giving them the right message in the right app to the right employee at the right time. And the third is to optimize all the experiences based on their feedback, based on their both qualitative feedback as well as the quantitative user data. So this is a platform that brings all these things together. Let's take a look at how it works. So let's take an application owner in a large company, maybe like yours, for Salesforce. That's Clay. And if you know anything about Salesforce, you know 3 things. The first, your company has spent a lot of money on it, like a lot. The second is that it's probably customized it a ton. And because of all that customization, there's a lot of opportunity for user error. And user error in Salesforce means really bad business data. So how do we solve these problems? Well, Clay knows that he's responsible for making sure that the data going into Salesforce and coming out of Salesforce is accurate. And he gets tons of requests. He gets Slacks, he gets emails, he gets texts, he gets loud executives yelling at him all the time because they all have an opinion about what he should do and how he should change in Salesforce and help educate the employees in the company. But with Pendo Adopt, what he can actually do is he can go in and take a look at what people are actually doing. So he can cut through the noise, cut through all the anecdotes, and take a look at the real analytics. For the first time, your internal organization can use Pendo to look at how employees are working in their applications for all the applications that you're using, whether you build them or whether you buy them. So Adopt works across all of these. And with segments, Clay can look at exactly which employees are using what, where they're struggling, which departments, which locations are behaving differently. And you can also segment on any other metadata by behavioral metadata or any metadata that you want to bring in to Adopt. And did you notice how he didn't have to pre-tag anything as he was looking at this data? Because Adopt comes preloaded with Salesforce tags. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So right out of the box, a Salesforce application owner can take a look at exactly what people are doing. He can also use paths to analyze what are the workflows that are working and that aren't working in his organization. He can see where people are actually falling off, where they're struggling. And he can cut through, remember all that noise, all those anecdotes, that loud exec, and he can bring them data and say, no, actually, this is the place that we need to augment. This is the place where we need to intervene. This is the place where we need to really focus our attention. So here you can see that a lot of people are dropping off at this custom field, this customer tier field. And so that's where the users, his employees, might need a little more help, might need a little more guidance, right? So remember, he's an application owner. And so what does he need to do? Does he need to wait for his Salesforce admin or the engineering team to free up some bandwidth to create a guide? No, he doesn't, because he has the new Adopt Studio. Adopt Studio is a brand new guide builder that is built specifically for non-technical users. If you don't have a designer handy, if you don't have an engineer handy, if you don't know CSS, you don't know how to code, you don't know any of the technical ins and outs, you can use Adopt Studio to quickly and easily build a guide. In fact, Clay, did you just build that guide right now?
I did. It took what, 25 seconds, maybe 15? And I want you all to see this. This is special. So with durable tags, there's no CSS, there's no searching to see if you have the right selector. All the actual fields are elevated for you to anchor and build guides very, very quickly, very efficiently. So let's check this one out. There we are.
There it is, live. Built a guide live in a couple seconds. Now, this is awesome, and I love to see this, but I have a dirty little secret. My secret is that when I'm working in anything, I just miss guides. Like, I'm the person who's like, anything that pops up on the screen, and I'm like, X, 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 X. And then often, I'm like, oh no, I don't know how to do this. I should have read that thing, right? I should have read that thing. How do I get it back? What do? I see some nods like in the audience. I think some of you guys are like this too. But now, well, we have the solution. We have the Pendo launcher. The Pendo launcher is a browser extension, and that gives every employee access to all the guides that they need based on the application that they're working in. So this is a one-stop shop, your ultimate resource center for knowing what to do, for knowing how to work, for getting your questions answered in the moment, no matter what question you have, if someone like Clay, an application owner, has built that information for you. So with the Pendo launcher, it's available for you. It's always on, and it helps your employees really navigate their experience through the entire digital workplace. So here's where we are. Where we started was Clay had a ton of noise, a ton of confusion, a lot of different things that he was grappling with, didn't know what to do because there was so much input from everywhere. But because he has Pendo Adopt, he was able to really understand where his employees needed help. He was able to build that help really easily, and then he was able to track and understand how what he was doing was actually affecting the productivity of his workforce. So with Pendo Adopt, employees are happier, Clay is happier. Most importantly, the business has the right data, because now people know what they're supposed to be doing, are less confused. So we are building this family of products to help all of our organizations really be ready for anything, no matter what the future holds and how we will work. We will be digital, always, and Pendo Adopt can help us all get there. So we are launching with a few design partners, and we also have our design and research team here. We have a booth. Come and join us on this journey to make the digital workplace amazing for everyone. And check us out. Thank you.
Awesome. Wow. Wow. Even the train was excited. So that whistle was well timed. Well, look, we talked a lot around separating signals from noise. How do we take all of this product data and pull out the bits that we should be diving into to drill in, to focus our energy and attention? We talked a lot about collaboration. The reality is this is critical. This is, you should be using product data to inform your decisions, but you need to make it easy to set context, to collaborate, talk through different ideas. We have a huge vision here. This is just the start of it. Hopefully engage with our product team back in Product Park, and you'll have an opportunity to learn a lot more about the future here of collaboration. And then last, I think Tatiana and Clay gave you an amazing introduction to the new Pendo Adopt to transform the way your employees use software. I mean, the reality is we're all using it all day long, and we're trying to context switch more and more, and our attention span's shorter and shorter. So we need techniques to continue nudging us, educating us, teaching us how to get the most value out of it so we can be more effective at our jobs. Folks, you're leading the way. You know, surveys show that 66% of organizations believe that you, the product teams, are leading the digital transformation. It's like no pressure. Yes, I'm sure you already feel all this already, but the reality is you are leading the company's transformation efforts right now. So I would encourage you today, given you're investing yourself, and each and every one of you is here, to take advantage of this event and take advantage of this opportunity. Do two things for me today. Go out, build a new relationship with someone that you have not met. This is an opportunity to not only meet someone very, very cool and get to know them, it's an opportunity to take away someone that when you have a question later, when you're back at your office or you're back at work, weeks from now, and you want to know, you want to bounce an idea off someone or share an idea and get a perspective before you share it internally, leverage this new relationship to be that sounding board. And I encourage you, be a sounding board for someone. That's an awesome opportunity for you to grow as well. And then learn a new use case. There are hundreds of use cases being talked about in our breakout sessions and the How I Pendo, and share yours. I mean, I think we all get better and smarter when we learn from each other. So I'll close on a very cool story. It's of a company that I probably believe all of us know, Morgan Stanley. It's not a new company. You know, they've been around since 1935, and they are absolutely going through a massive digital transformation. So we've been working with their Morgan Stanley at Work team, who basically provides workplace financial solutions. Those are solutions for our employers so that we as employees can manage things like our equity or retirement or solutions like that. And they are under a lot of pressure to continue modernizing their stack. It's fascinating what's going on in the world right now, but 80% of the equity holders in their platform have never owned equity before. So they're learning something new. And folks, these are important things. This is your retirement. This is your future financial situation. So they're modernizing their application to help us deal with these really, really important issues. And that's using analytics and helping onboard folks and helping make sure they create an experience which also matches all of our needs. Because the reality is, as our workforce gets younger and younger, we have greater and greater requirements in terms of how our UX behaves and what it looks like. So it's a very exciting story. Based on that, I'm excited to announce that they are this year's Founders Award winner. Is Robert Slaughter somewhere out here? Robert, I see Robert somewhere. Maybe I just don't see him in this crowd, so it is bright. Oh, he's back there. Robert, stand up. So, Robert, congratulations. It's exciting for you to be here to be recognized as part of the Morgan Stanley team. If you want to hear more about what Morgan Stanley is doing, I would encourage you to go out to Robert's breakout session. He's got an amazing breakout session talking in very great detail around how they're using product data to help shape the future of their business. So with that, thank you. Thank you, all of you, for coming out. Thank you to our event team. I think you can only imagine what our event team said when I decided I wanted to do an outdoor event in the middle of October. Not everyone was probably the happiest with me, but this is everything that I could have imagined and more. So thank you for being part of it. I do appreciate and enjoy the day. I hope you make the most of it and the opportunity, and hope you stick with us through the evening. It's a long day. We're going to have events on stage, live music. It's going to be absolutely amazing.